What's up everybody, Michael Silva here. Today's video we're going to talk about gold. Is it ready to go? Preparing for the next run. I got some very interesting charts and data that I want to share with you today, but before we hop into that, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Nevada King. Nevada's new strategic landowner, the world's most prolific gold mining trend. I'm going to be talking more about Nevada King at the end of this episode. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to the computer. We are looking at the Holbert Gold Newsletter Sentiment Index. This lets us know when people are bearish or when they're bullish, extremely bearish or extremely bullish. And what we're getting right now is a minus 45.2 reading, which we don't get these type of readings in bearish sentiment all too frequently. This was pulled by an article on MarketWatch written by Mark Holbert himself. And he quotes here, that's an aggressively bearish posture. Since 2000, the HGSNI has been lower than where it is today, just 0.4% of the time. And then it goes on to say that the last such occasion was at end of this past March, at which shares of gold mining companies rose more than 20% over the subsequent 2 months as measured by the VanEck Vectors Gold Miners ETF GDX, and I'm going 3.15% up higher. So bearish sentiment, potentially getting ready for a positive couple of months. But that's not all I want to share with you. This was put out by Tom McClellan, and he didn't give a good explanation because he doesn't really have one as to why this correlation works out so well. But he took the price of uranium on a log chart and looked at a price of gold on a log chart. He then shifted forward uranium prices 7 months. And as you can see after doing so, it really does look just like the chart of gold. Now, he doesn't give an explanation as to why, but he does mention that, sometimes you don't need to know why, but you just need to be aware that it's here and there is some sort of a correlation. And what this is basically telling us is the next 7 months for gold, based on the prices of uranium, it could be very, very positive. Then he goes deeper into the article and he says, but if you zoom in, there are some delayed responses. And, it's not always just like, okay, hit, right away. And we don't really understand what's going on quite with, this big uranium boom that's been taking place as of right now. And that could distort things a little bit. But it's something that he pointed out and wants people to be mindful of, because we are right there coming into a period where the next 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 7 months can be very positive for the price of gold. And then an article pulled from Martin Pring, he wanted to show an intermediate time frame timing mechanism. He uses this as special K, and he's looking at gold here on the 60-minute, and he pointed out that the special K was in a downtrend. Gold is in a downtrend, but we're starting to break out of that downtrend. The last time it did this, it was a little bit of a hiccup here in early June, but what we can see taking place now is the special K is turning up here. So this does look like a positive move, an early sign that we could get some further momentum in the price of gold. Then you want to match this up on the daily time frame for the price of gold. It looks like a nice inverse head and shoulders setting up here. If we can get above 1840 for that neckline of this inverse head and shoulders, it could very well propel us back up into 2000. Silver has been looking rather bullish. I've been watching this falling wedge as it pulled into an area of support. We broke out, and now we're in this period of consolidation right here. The PPO is turning up. It looks like somewhat of a bull flag taking place. If you take a look at the XAU, this is the gold and silver index. You can see a very similar inverse head and shoulder. So what you want to see take place is this break the neckline of 137.50 as it heads higher. Then that will give us a little bit more confidence that a breakout in gold above 1840, it could be more sustaining. Now, if we take a look at the weekly time frame for gold, this looks like a gigantic pennant or triangle type pattern. And as you can see here, the price action finished up $32 on the week, up 1.84%, got back above these key moving averages. What we need to be patient for and what we need to wait for is a breakout of this. I like the looks of it overall. The PPO is turning up, bullish crossover. It's slightly below zero, back above the key moving averages. RSI is pointing up and it's above 50. This looked like it's getting ready to start moving. And if you look at the monthly time frame, on the price of silver, this has been, like I said, we looked at the the daily time frame already, right? And it's been in this period of consolidation, hasn't been giving us much. But if you zoom out, this looks like a possibility for a bull flag where we can easily come back up if we get above these previous candles to come test 28. And if we get above that, there's no stopping where we can't go. It can easily fly up to around 40 to 50, breaking out of these key areas. Now, the thing that I am watching very closely moving forward is the dollar. Now, the dollar can go up and gold can go up too as well, but that correlation doesn't hold for too long. What we've been seeing these last couple of days is that gold has been rising, but the dollar has too. So there's a little bit of shaky ground in the early, shorter time frame here. But you can see the dollar broke out in inverse head and shoulders. We're starting to move higher. And the dollar fairly looks like it's been in this bottoming process. A full measured move can take the dollar up to around 96. If you want to zoom out even further and look at the gold on the monthly time frame, I mapped out key levels. This was the first area that was tagged. That's where I first entered into a new position. But if it keeps on continuing to fall, I'm looking at these levels here. You can screenshot this. But overall, on the monthly time frame, this still looks very, very strong overall. This is a long-term chart. Obviously, it could be very well a bull flag. We want to see, like I said, gold get above this area of resistance, and then the next area is going to be just right above 1900 to see if we can head significantly higher. It's now time to talk about Nevada King. Today's video was brought to you in partnership by Nevada King. They do trade on the TSX-V under ticker symbol NKG, and they also trade on the OTCQB market under ticker symbol VKMTF. If you're wondering what OTCQB is, the OTCQB is a venture market for early stage and developing US and international companies. I am being compensated to bring public awareness to Nevada King. I do not own personally any common stock, preferred stock, warrants at this time. Nevada King is a dominant explorer and developer that's focused exclusively on the Battle Mountain trend, Nevada's most prolific gold mining trend. So why Nevada? Well, Nevada is rated by the Fraser Institute as the world's #1 mining district, and the Battle Mountain gold trend is one of the most endowed gold belts around. The state has been famous for gold discoveries since the 1800s, and Nevada is now home to one of 6 major gold producing areas in the world. In fact, new discoveries in Nevada have come well into what is considered the state's 4th and possibly biggest gold bloom. Gold is Nevada's top overseas export by value, at one point accounting for 44% of the state's exports. The top destinations for these exports are Switzerland and India, where Nevada mined gold is refined. Nevada produces more than 80% of the gold mine annually in the United States. If it were a separate country, Nevada would be the world's 5th largest producer, behind China, Australia, Russia, and Canada. Over the past decade, gold production has averaged about 5.5 million ounces per year in Nevada. Just a few years ago, Nevada's gold production totaled just over $7 billion, representing 84% of all mining production in the state. Furthermore, this is the region where the gold is right underneath the ground. Gravity data indicates that approximately 60% of the known gold trends in Nevada lie under cover at shallow, permissive depths. In short, there's definitely room to find the next generation of discoveries here in Nevada. Now, one thing that sets Nevada King apart is that it's a true specialist, a dominant explorer and developer focused exclusively on the Battle Mountain trend, which is, once again, Nevada's most prolific gold mining trend. Nevada King is the state's 4th largest and active claim holder. They have a plan to become Nevada's 2nd largest by 2022. They have a lineup of all-stars in the mineral and finance sector, one of which is the founder and executive chairman, Paul, and he is a serial entrepreneur, a geochemist, and geologist. He has over 40 years of experience in the mining industry. And as a CEO, chairman since 2004, he is primarily focused on the exploration, development, and sale of 5 publicly listed companies worth over $2 billion combined. Founder and CEO is Colin Kettle. He is also the founder and executive chairman of Palisades Gold Corp, Canada's resource-focused merchant bank with 420 million AUM and growing. He's also the founder and executive chairman of Newfound Gold Corp, and that is now a $1 billion market cap gold explorer, as well as a co-founder of Gold Spot Discoveries. He comes from a family with deep ties to mining, including co-founding AUEX Ventures, the company responsible for discovering the Long Canyon deposit, a project ultimately acquired by Newmont for $2.3 billion. The chief financial officer is Bassam, a CPA with expertise in corporate finance. He has held senior executive positions for various mining companies for over 10 years, including Lithium X Energy Corp, and he played a key role in its sale to NextView New Energy Lion Hong Kong Limited for $265 million. He has also raised over $200 million to finance and develop mines and sold 4 assets worth $850 million combined. A quote from Paul, the founder and executive chairman: along with assembling a commanding land position in one of the world's most prospective and prolific gold environments, Nevada King Gold has established a board and management with significant experience in the mining industry and collectively among the members of the board and management, a history of previous cumulative M&A transactions value in excess of $5 billion over the past 15 years. Nevada King has many projects, but what I want to focus on is the total 8197 right there. Nevada King has staked that many claims in the most prolific mineral belt, Battle Mountain, since its formation in 2015. And that's coming at the depths of the bear market in gold, when there was little money and few investors that were willing to engage in contrarianism and to risk time and funds on that type of entrepreneurship. So going from 0 to 8,197 claims in a few years, it's a lot of work, because every stake there requires putting 5 poles in the ground, filing with the federal government, and maintaining the annual fee on every single one of them. So if you try to do this now, you'll soon find out that there are very few left. And how potentially rewarding could this be in monetary terms? Well, I mean, the value proposition of the company is in the fact that any large cap billion-dollar producer that wants exposure to a wide range of these exploration claims that are currently wholly owned by Nevada King would probably have to essentially go through Nevada King. There's quite a few projects that Nevada King is working on, but of primary interest is Nevada King's 100% interest in the Atlanta mine. That's located 100 kilometers southeast of LI, Nevada. The 2021 geophysical and geochemical programs for the Atlanta mine will cover the entire district, thereby enabling Nevada King to greatly expand its search into areas covered by shallow alluvium and post-mineral volcanic, which cover most of the district. Also to note that the Atlanta mine is an established past gold producer with resources and upside potential. The company also controls the Iron Point Vanadium project located 22 miles east of Winnemucca, Nevada, and within a few miles of Interstate 80, the interstate that I'm well familiar with here living in Sacramento. There are high voltage power lines running through the Iron Point Vanadium project area and a railroad line passing across the northern property boundary. So Nevada King is preparing to advance that Iron Point Vanadium project for both vanadium and gold. If you want to learn more about Nevada King, I'd highly recommend going to their website, nevadaking.ca. I put a link in the description of this video, as well as a link to a couple of their YouTube videos that go over in more detail their specific projects that they're working at. It's a direct link to their Palisades YouTube channel. Hope that helps, and have a wonderful day.